It'll load. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 10K on the Bay. Today's episode, we have Loretta at Thrift Love Sell on Instagram. She's going to talk to us about selling hard goods on eBay and Etsy. Why don't you introduce yourself?
So I'm Loretta from Thrift Love Sell, and I've had an Etsy store now for 2 years, and I've been on eBay for 3 years.
Awesome. Sounds good. So there's a lot of people who maybe want to get out of selling clothes or get into selling some hard goods because the profits are higher. So how do you want to start? Do you want to start with your first tip, or do you want to give an overview of what got you in the hard goods?
I actually was a Pyrex collector, so I started selling my Pyrex off on Etsy, and that's how I started selling hard goods. And then I have a background in interior decorating, so I find hard goods easier for me just because I'm aware of what's on trend. So I enjoy looking for those things at the thrift stores and estate sales and that.
So do you do any research? Like, do you look at magazines, or do you have an eye for design, or how does somebody develop looking at home decor?
So like anything, if you're passionate about it, you'll probably be more interested just like clothing or toys or whatever. But you can learn, like you can go out today and get current interior design magazines or go on blogs and read the trends and know the buyer, because the buyer that's buying now is not the same buyer that was buying 20 years ago. So know what is on trend and what people are actually buying.
So I have a question. Who is buying home goods? Are you targeting specifically women? Do you know the demographic of the people who are buying your stuff?
Yeah. So the new buyer, so like my mom is in her 60s. So my mom has downsized and she's not interested in collecting, antiques. So like a 1910s lantern. No one wants that anymore. There's a new buyer with a fresh approach and they want different stuff. And what's old is new again. So my targeted buyer is someone who's about 20 something up to 50. That's my targeted buyer. The main higher point like buyer is probably gonna be more like 35 to 50, prime of their career. They have their home, they're excited, they want to spend the money and invest. So that's probably the higher end buyer. The younger buyer, that's like 20, 25, maybe they're just in college, finishing college, but they want to dress up their little apartment or whatever, and they like things that are cute and interesting. So there's that buyer too.
Awesome. So you have a background in it. And then when you, right, and tell us a little bit about you. You're a mom. How much time do you have to work on eBay and Etsy per week?
So I only have about 20 hours a week for this business because I have kids and they're number one. And one is 4 years old and one is 6. The 6 is in kindergarten. The 4-year-old is in like 3 mornings a week of preschool. So they come first and then I hustle around their schedule and that's how I do it. But I managed to make the same income I made at my full-time career before I was doing this as a stay-at-home mom. So
That
the
is
money
so
is
awesome.
definitely there. There's no pyramid scheme where I have to sell to my friends and family. I can sell from my house and I can source when I got 20 minutes here and there. So
Do you have a pickup scheduled, or do you go to the post office?
So I drop my parcels off 3 days a week at the post office. So
Oh,
when
3
my
days.
kid is in preschool in the mornings, I try to do my runs, especially now it's winter and the roads are a little bit more hazardous. I try to do my parcels when I don't have my kids in the car. So
Can you give us an idea of what your day looks like? How do you fit all that in?
So wrapping parcels is the most time consuming. So I'm trying to do that in the evenings when my kids are in bed. And then if I get, every day is different and, every things happen, right? And some days I just take off or I go to the zoo or I do whatever I want. So, but if I have a 3-hour chunk of time and I'm going to utilize that. So I'll maybe take my photos of like 50 items, put them on my phone, then grab a notepad and do all my measurements. And then I can take that anywhere. So if I got 10 minutes here and there and in between, I can do my listings that way. So that's how you had to kind of piece it out. It's not all going to get done in 8 hours. And once you realize that and you realize it's just going to get done when it gets done, you can kind of relax. And then when you start getting paid for your time and it gets exciting because all of a sudden you're making great income with minimal effort.
So give us an idea of where to start looking for hard goods.
Obviously in the hard goods sections at the thrift store. And I would focus on one thing that you're interested in. Like, say you're interested in, I don't know, you like things like paperweights. And you're like, I'm just gonna look out for paperweights when I go thrifting. Or I gotta look out for, little sculptures or interesting things. Like pick a concept that you like and just get into it, and it might just be one or two things that you know a little bit about. And you just need to know a little bit about that one thing that makes you do a little more research. And then you just kind of keep growing and learning. It's like your brain is like, it's like clothing or toys. You just keep learning and keep absorbing and you just keep going. And then all of a sudden, at least 100 items in a hard goods section. You're like, those all make money. I know they're guaranteed to make me money. So
let's talk about your thrift store route. If you don't mind giving out your secrets. So you walk in, where do you go first?
Where I go first? Usually I look for teacups.
Teacups is your first?
Yeah, I know it sounds funny, but you can spend $5 and sell teacup for $200. So
wow, that is
I look out because I know another picker is gonna see that and go, or someone's just gonna like, oh, it's turquoise. I love that. And they're gonna scoop it up before I get it. So I'll look there first because it's such fast, easy money. So yeah.
So the first thing you do is teacups, then what?
Right now I look for brass.
Brass.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you're looking to pick up brass, like any particular brass? Is it any brass? Is it only home decor brass? Is it how can you tell the difference between, let's say, brass and copper plated and brass plated? Is it the weight? How are you able to figure this out?
Okay, well, brass is usually brass. So unless it looks like it was spray painted from Marshall's or like, one of those home goods stores, but brass is usually brass. So, it's not gold. It's not like anything miraculous. You're going to see this kind of yellow metal, and that is usually brass. And the brass that sells is practical brass. So brass that people can use. So, things that can be used in the home, that's what's going to sell the fastest, is things that can actually be used.
So like I noticed you had mentioned this in a previous video as well, like the light behind you. You look for, I'm sure fixtures are they're both decor and functional, right? So I think that would be an easier sell.
Yeah. So, and also the brass has to be in demand because there is like 80s and 90s brass that nobody wants. So you remember those lampshades with the pleats on them, the 80s ones with the brass base? No one's buying that. So that's the bright brass from the 80s is not what's on trend right now. People are looking for the 60s, 70s vintage looking brass. So if you want to see on that, I can show you some samples where we can.
Okay, so I'm just trying to give people an idea of how to learn it. So like, for example, when they go and they look at the teacups, when you first started, did you look up every single teacup? Do you look and see what you think is cool and you start there? Because we had also mentioned that some things we may not think are in style, but they are on trend.
So for teacups, there's different styles, but the wider the diameter, the cup, the more open it is, that's called a wide mouth. And if it's got like giant flowers, a sailboat, or fruit in the middle, those can be worth $600.
Holy crap, are you serious?
Yeah. So, but you want to look for so there's 3 brands I look for: Ainsley, Paragon, and Royal Albert. Those are the top 3 teacup brands. So, and some are worth $20 and some are worth hundreds of dollars. But
this is great because I would say the glassware, from what I've seen in California, at least, it's definitely underappreciated. People are looking for high-end designer clothing here. I think they totally ignore the hard goods section. So you get and let's talk about defects. What on it would make you not purchase a teacup?
So a chip, a hairline crack, major, it has to look like a teacup you would buy today at a home goods store. It has to look like it's a collector. They don't want any chipped any crazy that's that cracking in the glaze, anything like that. They want it to be pristine because they're going to pay top dollar. If it's junky, then I would just leave it behind.
How about China? Do you also buy China?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
So find China. Think about China. Like the cheapest piece is going to be the plate. In general, you go to buy China today at Royal Doulton, the plate is going to be the cheapest. The most expensive will be the tureen, which is the server with the handle, the bowls, the platters, the gravy boats, the butter dishes. Those are more expensive because they're additions. So those will also be true for the older stuff. The more valuable is going to be those pieces that were bought separately out of the set, and they're hard to find. And, so those are the things. The tureen is usually the thing that sells for the most in a China set.
And probably the most likely to break, right? If somebody has it at their home.
Yeah. So China, it can be hit and miss, but I would say the best place to source that is actually things like estate sales, where someone just wants to get rid of it for $30 and all of a sudden you have $2,000 worth of China. And it's not going to sell overnight, but it will sell. And you might get a buyer who says, hey, I want most of this. Can you just, and you do a deal and you just sell it all and you make a lot of money. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's talk about a few items that you have picked that did not sell. That question is from Nicole State. Are there items that you've purchased that for some reason did not sell? Or can you give us some examples of maybe a bad buy or something you learned from a mistake, or something that's been sitting around for a while and you want to get rid of? How do you handle that?
So if it's a breakable, I would just donate it. Because it's just not worth it to put it back on eBay for $10 and then you got to ship a breakable and it might break, and it's not worth it. So yes, I've bought in some like kitschy things. Kitsch is the same thing as, say, Walmart today. So back in the 50s, they had stuff that was sold at cheap stores, kind of like Walmart, and it was just mass produced, made in Japan, and they call that kitsch. And so I bought a lot cute little porcelain cats and figurines. I thought, ooh, this is cute. Someone's going to want to buy this and pay top dollar. But true collectors don't want that. It was junk back then. It is junk now. So there's a very niche market for kitsch. So all that kitsch stuff that I had, I redonated because I was I was spending like 50 cents at yard sales. So it wasn't lost a lot of money. But yeah, so I donated all my kitsch.
So let's talk about minimum profit margin. If people didn't watch the show with you before, it's more work to handle hard goods sometimes. So do you have a minimum profit goal?
If you can clear $40, that's a good money back in return on glass and breakables, like cookie jars or things that are going to break possibly, or things you have to, package more. It's going to take more of your time. So I leave glassware. I see glassware that's beautiful all the time. And I said, no, because you're not worth it. And I don't want to deal with shipping it. So I'll leave stuff behind all the time.
I think that's important. There's a lot of people who will sell something for $20 profit. And there's always a chance, no matter how good you pack it, that it may break. So do you insure glass breakables?
I don't think the post office, I haven't really done a claim. I haven't had much break because I package pretty good.
Gotcha.
But I usually just refund and move on. But I would insure something that is over $100 because that's what priority covers. So if it was like $100, I've insured for that before. So I'll insure for that.
Let me see what other questions people had on the chat for you. People are saying, are there other common, or Frugal Living's asking, are there other common things we can look for? Like, for example, in clothing, they look at wear in specific places and they may put that in the item description. Is there normal wear that people can check beyond hairline cracks and chips?
On pottery glass in China, look it up and see if it's ever usually I leave it behind. I've sold a few things that were super rare with a chip and I still got a lot of money for it, but this is like rare cookie jars and stuff that people don't mind the little chip. But generally on China and glass, crystal, if it's chipped, I don't sell it. But that being said, on the other hand, with metals and wear, it's okay. So you just put down, has wear, patina, age spots, wear consistent with age. Like that is okay to put down, show photos, and most people who are buying vintage understand that.
So here's a question. Do you ever polish brass? Do you ever do any improvements to the items you get, or you just sell them with the patina from the past on them?
So the only brass that I polish is mid-century modern. So very sleek modern lines where like I have, those brass birds that go on the wall. It's like a set of three of them. They're very modern. I had a pair that had a trio that had age spots on them, and I polished those up because they look way more sleek. Those age spots took away from the finish. So, and I've done that too with some really modern bookends. But I polished maybe one out of 100 items of brass because number one, the chemicals are horrible for you, and number two, most buyers want that aged look. So,
Makes sense. So do you know the difference between a transfer and a hand painted item?
yeah.
How can you tell?
You're gonna see the brush strokes and
Okay.
almost like a 3D effect. Um, it's like the difference between a real painting and a print. Like, can you tell the difference? Yeah, you can tell the difference. So,
Gotcha. But you still have to learn because there is some high end. There's a lot of are there fakes? Do you see stuff that's made to look vintage but's not?
so there's a whole bunch of fake glass right now. If you go into any of those home goods stores, you're gonna see all this Chinese knockoff Murano glass.
Hmm.
So if you're getting into glass, you really have to step back, do your research, and know what you have because the last thing you want as a collector really like disappointed that you sold them like a $300 item that's worth $10.
Gotcha. So Hustle Home Mom is asking, how do you train your eye? And when you're looking at glass, do certain things catch your eye? Is that just from practice?
Yeah, from practice. And I look for stamps too, because there's some really expensive crystal out there. And if you find one with the stamp, you know, you can make a lot of money. So a lot of times the thrift stores miss stuff too, because they have so much inventory, they're not even noticing. So I picked up like lots of decanters and stuff with, the marks there, and they even noticed it. And I got it for $5 and sold for 80. So
So another question on that stuff is, are you able to bundle a lot of this stuff? Because at the thrift stores here, I can get glassware relatively cheap because they don't like dealing with it. It breaks, it takes up a lot of space. I think one of the easier things to get a bundle deal on, like let me take this whole set, would be home goods. So do you ever ask the manager for a multiple item deal, or how do you arrange that?
my thrift stores are really cheap. So I don't really, on a estate sale, I'll bargain or a yard sale, but at a thrift store, I will usually just be happy with the price and move on. But yeah, I don't really ever negotiate with the thrift stores, but I will in a estate sale. Of course, you just make a massive pile and they're like happy that you're taking it away. So
Fair
yeah,
enough. Here's another question. Um, how do you price items that don't have very many comps but are in style?
I price high.
I know. I was knew you were going to say that. Pricing high is good because there's low competition.
There's low competition and there's tons of competition on eBay. Etsy, I would say the seller's more savvy or like they know what they're doing. But on eBay, you have people taking pictures besides our hot water tank in the basement on the floor, with no class. So if you're willing to spend a little bit of time and class up your pictures and do a little more effort, you're going to get more money. The presentation is everything with home decor.
I have
Like,
I have noticed some of your pictures are actually in your home versus just a pure white background for
yeah.
some of these items. Okay, so this is another question. How would you differentiate, which follows up on your last statement, between an Etsy customer and an eBay customer?
Um, Etsy, I am willing to wait for the higher price customer. So I'll put things on there that I know I'm going to get more for than eBay. So if I see an item on eBay being sold for $20, but I know that I can get 60 for on Etsy, if I just wait and put it up there and take good pictures, then I'll put it on Etsy.
Here's a question. How do you store home goods if they're fragile?
So my husband built me, I have 1,000 square foot basement. So my husband built me these huge shelves that are like 2 feet deep, like out of plywood and 2x4s. So I put down like sheets or fabric everywhere, and I have all my glassware, and I don't want to pack it away. I want to see it. Like I just very visual. If I put that all in bins and box it up, I don't want to do that. So I want to be able to see it all. And then I also know if something's been there like way too long, like, hey, I've owned that for a year now. I did like either lower the price or I have to donate it. So.
Okay, that's fair. So you don't pre-package, which is good. You have the space. Let me see. I guess we've already talked about this in our shipping episode on last Sunday, but can you give us some tips on how to ship?
I guess ship it so it can survive a break, a fall, 4-foot drop from the conveyor belt at the shippers, and then also over a fence, or it's gonna get busy soon. So these people at the post office are really busy. They're not gonna care about your stickers that say glass. So ship it so it can withstand a break. I use packing peanuts, and then with glass, I wrap with bubble and then corrugated cardboard. You can buy corrugated cardboard from Amazon or Walmart. So.
Okay. And then there's a lot of questions based on scheduling. So do you, as a mom, do you block time together? Like, do you do all your photographs at once, all your drafting at once? I mean, obviously you list throughout the day because you have the pictures on your phone, but is there another time saver or hack you can teach some moms in the community?
Before I said have the pictures on. So yeah, I'll do a batch of 50 photos or 50 items at once, put them on my phone, and then I'll measure it all, write down like any defects or problems or notes I need to make with the item, and then put all my items away downstairs. They're all washed and cleaned and put them away. And then I can work anywhere with that notepad. So I can and sometimes what I do is I just create the drafts and I just only put in the dimensions and like the condition, and that's it. And then like when I wait for my kid at the bus stop in my car for 10 minutes, I can do like 3 listings. So as long as I have the measurements and the condition notes in there and the photos, I can do that listing anywhere.
That's awesome. So Joan in the chat is asking, she found 20 brass candlesticks. Is that something that you would lot together, or is it something that you would sell separately, or both? How would you handle that?
So I would lot it together. So I sold a lot of 40. I think it was September. I have to look at my solds, but it was $375 American plus $60 shipping. And that was all candlesticks I had gathered over yard sale season. I just put a box in my basement, chucked the brass in there, and then I just took the wax off and kind of cleaned them up, took the picture. And then some lady, exactly, it was her wedding. She wanted those, and $60 shipping was fine. And they were sold. And they actually sat though for 4 months. So I told someone the other day, it's not going to sell overnight. But if you have room for a box of brass, just put it aside. And then, yeah, I would wait till you get either 20. You could do half of that, half of $375, or wait till you get 40 and do close to $400 for a lot.
Okay. Aaron asks, do you ever do local auctions or junkyards?
I just don't have the time. I'd like to, but I haven't gone into that yet. Okay,
let's see. Have you ever sold a brass vase?
Yeah, I sell lots of brass vases all the time, and planters.
Awesome. Let's see. What other questions do people have? A lot of questions are just based on literally your time. I guess people are having difficulty managing their time properly, and I think a lot of people have 10 to 20 hours to work on their eBay business, and I think they're just paralyzed. They just can't get beyond thinking about what to do instead of just doing something and learning. So let's talk about this. Let's say you arrived at a garage sale and you found a piece of a wood carving or something. How would you start researching it?
I guess just like what it is. Is it like native? Is it African? Is it Aztec? Like what the description is of it? Maybe the wood type, the carving style, like, and then and the type of wood. Like I would just kind of keep plugging in words into the image search And sometimes if it's like a few bucks and I don't have time to research, but I know someone's gonna at least spend 30 bucks on it, I'll just throw it in my car. And I've sold so many things that I didn't even know who made it, but someone actually went and bought it because it was unique. So
That's great. So let's talk about keywords. So obviously, if you find an item that's not branded, you're using the right keywords. Is that just from practice that you're knowing the right words to put in the title, or do you look at comps and check and add those keywords in? How are you making your titles draw the right customer?
I guess maybe the decor theme. So bohemian, boho, jungle, traditional, modern, contemporary, mid-century, modern, urban. Like there's a lot of keywords right now that are describing trends. So those are probably because my buyers are going to be looking for that kind of decor if that's their space. So they might type in traditional candlestick holder brass, right? Or, boho, bohemian wall planter, so I try to target my buyer.
Perfect. Do you ever sell small furniture or furniture in general?
Yes. So I will not pass up a small stool. I bought one the other day. It was bright orange, mid-century modern, the leg screw off. 40 bucks shipping on that. Listed, I think I paid, my husband got a bulk deal at a estate sale, so it was like $7. I listed it for 120. All I have to do is unscrew the legs, bubble it, put in a box, and ship it. So small stools, bar carts would probably be the biggest thing I would ship. But at the end of the day, it's other people are not picking that up. So if you grab it, you stand and make quick money because not a lot of people have it listed online.
Okay, next question is, can you talk about religious items or holiday decor? And I picked up electronic Bibles from you and found two at garage sales recently. So I appreciate that tip. But can you give us some ideas on religious items and holiday decor?
So I sell like a menorah all day long. So I found like a ton of those brass ones and they sell and I have never sold like any of those the crosses or whatever, but I know people sell those and stuff because I just don't find them. But yeah, I'll sell anything that's religious if it like if I think it's gonna sell, right? But if I don't see much religious stuff, you know.
How about holiday stuff?
Yes.
So
So
do you save it for the next year, or do you just put it up?
right now. So I have lots of stuff here to show you. But yeah, Christmas ornaments right now are like selling like crazy and for really good money. So this is a time of year where you can go because Halloween just happened. So all the thrift stores have brought out all their vintage 1960s, the tree toppers, the tinsel garland, the lights, all that stuff right now is selling all the ornaments. So you can definitely spend $3, either break up the set or you can sell as a whole set. It's like for $40 easily for some of these vintage ornaments.
Okay, show us some of the stuff. Let's see. This is exciting, guys.
Okay. So you remember like Noma? Like Noma makes all that plastic. Like Noma makes the big Santas, like all the cheesy plastic stuff. But some of those big Santas go for like $200. The big giant outdoor candles can go for $300 a piece. So those old vintage plastic Noma pieces. And then Noma makes the bubble lights, like the bubble lights that go on trees. And then they make a bubble light, a tree that's small. And that goes for like $300. So the 50s vintage Noma is very collectible. So I like this, that's a light. I got that for like $1. I'm listing that for about $30 as Noma. These window lights, these same thing, $1.99, 30 bucks. And they come in like, there's also red ones too that go for more money.
What? Awesome.
And then like vintage ornaments. So that was $1 and this was for about $40 because these are, so the ornaments on the top where the hanger is, you're gonna see it say Japan, West Germany, or Poland. So those are the three top higher end blown ornaments, and those get more money. So, and the 50s ones that are actually mercury glass, because mercury glass is two types of glass, and then the inside is filled with color. So those ones are very rare, and those are the real ones from the 50s are very expensive. So, and then of course, vintage tinsel. So this kind of tinsel and the lawn stuff like that cats would eat. People buy it all the time. I can sell this stuff at Etsy all day long. And
That's
so, and I've
crazy.
actually sold for movie sets. In the summertime, I sell them for movie sets. So yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, go right now and buy up all of the ornaments you can get your hands on. And also too, like the Hallmark ornaments, a lot of them are collectible. Like there's like Harry Potter and there's some other ones like that. They're worth like on the bag at Savers and they can be worth like hundreds of dollars. So look at those Hallmark ornaments as well.
This is amazing. I'm loving this. I also picked up a Korah, guys. So you don't, it doesn't even have to be a Christian religious text. Or Quran rather. But yeah, so what other stuff? What's that? Is that a brass piece behind you next to the lamp?
Yeah, so I don't know what you want to cover, but I just brought things downstairs because I have lots of inventory of things that I know I'm gonna sell. Like they sold like last year in fourth quarter, and this is the time of year people are like they're stuck inside and they want to decorate their house, and it's party season too, so they want to entertain, serving people over. So, and there's not a lot. I don't know, like where I live. There's like, we have Marshalls and Home Goods and that, but that's really kind of, and there's like Pier 1 and then there's the mall places, but that's really all we have. So a lot of people are looking for not the same as everyone else and unique things. So anyway, so I'll show you.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So things like this, can you see, this is a champagne bucket and a stand, right?
Okay.
So that's it for like, so it's kind of loud. Anyways, things like that sell right now for New Year's and stuff. So you can find these for maybe $10 and then flip them for around $100 easily for the champagne buckets. And if you find one that's real silver, whatever, it can go for a lot more money. But I've sold 2 of these this week. So ice buckets, the vintage ones from the 50s. So again, I paid $5 and they were $50 each. So those are great. So brass is really in, so ice buckets, bar tools, like the it's called a double jigger. So these sell all day long. So I grabbed these, and you know, like openers and stuff. And then glasses. So when you look for glasses and vintage, look for things that are unique and have beautiful designs. Not just plain Jane, because this is what's going to sell. So these are atomic ones from the 50s, made by Libby. So these are good, and shot glasses and things like that. And decanters. I can sell decanters all day long. So glass will go for less. Like this was, I bought a set for $5. I can sell a set for $60. But crystal, you'll get more money for. So like crystal, you can, you know, sell for like $80. And if you don't know what crystal is, go to like a high-end store that sells crystal, pick it up, feel it, hold to the light, you're gonna see how it sparkles. You're gonna know crystal once you see it the first time, you'll know it forever. And then crystal decanters as well do really well, or sorry, color decanters. So blue or red or whatever do really well. So decanters sell all the time, and then in the description put down like scotch, whiskey, wine, what they're for, gift for him. A lot of decanters go to men for Christmas presents from their wives all the time. And then I got a huge, you can see it. See this big bar cart. So I'm listing that on eBay for $400. So bar carts, if you want to ship them, it's good money because no one else is selling them. So you can do bar carts.
Amazing.
So yeah, barware sells all this season and into New Year. So on eBay, you have less of a title. So if you want to put like New Year's in there or party, you could put that as keywords as well.
Amazing.
So
I'm so excited because I didn't know about really any of these categories before I started watching your Insta story. And I think a lot of the people that are here tonight watch you on Instagram, which is really, really helpful, learning all these niches because, you know, you're literally living the dream, in my opinion. I'm just so happy to see there's people that, you know, you're hustling, you literally replace your income and you're a mom. That's like amazing. There's just such a rare thing. And I just think it's powerful because everything now, I just want to make this point. A lot of the stuff coming from Amazon right now is junk. So if you find cool stuff, you're going to easily sell it because all the new stuff, when I go to Marshalls and TJ Maxx, the stuff's not that great. Are you finding good stuff at those stores?
No, even like things that you think are good quality, like there's a reason why people want real copper because it's copper throughout and it's not gonna like when you scratch it, you're not gonna scratch this lacquer off or it's just cheap metal or anything. It's gonna like scratch. So that's why people, and I think that the new buyer, like our parents are not buying the antiques. The new buyer is looking for that quality item. They're gonna spend the money now. It's gonna last like the next 20 years.
That's right.
So that's your buyer.
I also feel like as a younger generation right now, I'm relatively minimalist. I just buy exactly what I'm looking for, even if I have to pay up. I just don't have as much stuff. So I want to get the good stuff. I want stuff that's meaningful, and stuff that's older is usually much better built on top of being higher quality materials. It's also usually handmade.
Yeah. And it was made to last. So
it was made to last.
Yeah.
So estate sales. Do you and your husband split up? I was going to ask that when you guys go to different estate sales.
Sometimes my husband will like go out for me because I just don't want to drag the kids along. It's not fun for them. So a lot of times we don't thrift with the kids or bring them because I just think it's like we did yard selling this summer and put our kids in daycare because we felt like they have more fun there than at yard sales because kids don't like that. And that's where I got a lot of stuff this year. And estate sales, yeah, we'll split up. Usually I'll head downstairs to the basement to go find all the Christmas ornaments. And my husband will like look around at everything else. So usually we split up and then we just, that way it goes faster. We're out of there quicker.
That's awesome. How's his eye compared to your eye?
He looks for weird things. Like he brought home an omnichord, which is like this organ that's like a guitar, and I was like, no one's gonna buy that. He said, you wait and see. And of course it sold for a lot of money like overnight, and I was like, okay, you win. Like, so he buys all the weird stuff that like I wouldn't even touch, but he knows a lot about that kind of stuff, so that compliments me. He'll take a chance on electronic, whereas I would just keep walking.
What's your biggest flip?
I posted on my Instagram a while ago. I sold, well, it's not really a huge flip, but it's probably bigger, but it was $500. I bought some pottery bowls that were like third shelf down at Goodwill at the back, and they were brown looking, and people just kept overlooking them. And then, so there was 2 bowls, and then there was a canister up top, but they looked like they're kind of handmade. And I was like, those look kind of interesting, but they're ugly. So I flipped it over and there was a stamp, and all I could find on the stamp was this one dish that had chicken on it, and that was it. That was the only comp, and the thing went for $300. So I was like, I don't know, it's $6 for this pottery, whatever. So I'll just buy it and take a chance. So I listed the total for $500, and then someone bought it. So I was like, awesome. I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's sold, and I went to some person on the in New York. Some collector.
So if I babysat the kids and you and your husband went out all day on a Saturday, who would buy more profitable stuff, do you think, in the whole day? If you had the whole day to shop, who would do better?
It depends on what you find. Like there's some days we'll yard sale and I'll find everyone's profitable. My husband will only find one toy or electronic.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that. You're not gonna hit a home run every single time.
Yeah. Like we sold a Transformers lot like 2 weeks ago for $465 at auction, and it was like $30 at a yard sale. And he found that.
Amazing.
And, so he's better with vintage toys, electronics, and I'm better at like home decor. He's like he knows some things, but he's pretty well clueless. So.
That's awesome. So I just want to point out again, guys, we are having an event in March. And if you guys want to come see Loretta, she's going to be a speaker and talk about hard goods in person. She's going to bring some to show you guys so you can feel, look, and touch and see the difference. If you want to sign up at resellerfam.com and use her code, it is an affiliate link, but it's Thrift Love Sell. We'll give you a $50 discount. So now we're doing early bird registration. If you want to get that discount, use Loretta's code at Thrift Love Sell, and we'll give you a $50 discount to the event. You can meet us in person and it should be a really fun event. But I'm super excited to see that stuff in person, because it's one thing to talk about it, but I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of us would pay just to come watch you in the thrift store at least once. I think that's really the benefit that people can really learn from when you're in the community and you meet people. Um, do you interact much on Instagram? I know you put a lot of great content. Do you also talk to other sellers that sell hard goods and learn from them?
A little bit. There's a few sellers that sell hard goods, but I predominantly share more than I learn, because I'm kind of like a lone wolf. So I'm taking chances on things that no one is really selling, and I'm just taking a chance, because I'm like, I see that in a magazine, I'll list it and see if it sells, and then I'm like, okay, well, Bolo, it's selling, right?
Right.
And someone else isn't. Like, there's new trends all the time, and things are selling that I would pass up. And then I see it in a magazine, I'm like, well, I'll try it, and then it sells, and I'm like, hey, so I feel like I'm kind of like, because a lot of the other sellers I've been doing this for years are antique sellers, and they're a whole different group of people, and they don't feel like they feel like sharing is taking away. Like, they're going to share their secrets and everyone's going to steal and make money off them. But I feel like the opposite. I feel like there's so much opportunity out there. There's no way that everyone's going to get everything. There's enough money for everyone to make.
I absolutely feel that way. The older resellers are very reluctant to share information. And I feel like since I have started, there is now every single category is profitable. There's literally people who only sell brass. I'm sure there's a store on eBay that only sells brass, and that person just drives around looking for that. That exists. You can sell just one thing. You could sell only compacts. There's a lady that sells only those compact mirrors. She sells some for $300, $400, $500, and she gets them for $2 at an estate sale. But she knows what she's looking for. She's practiced. She knows different materials. I'm just blown away. So yeah, super excited, guys. Do you have any final words, or we can call it a night? I know we got started a little bit late tonight. Appreciate you staying on longer.
Well, maybe I'll come back for another episode, but
I think so. Yep.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing I can say is just know your buyer and know the trends, because that will, if you just go get like a few top design magazines and you just take it home and you just start circling, that's vintage and it's on trend right now. You go through a store and you buy that and you put in your store and it's going to sell. Like, it's that easy, and I think people aren't thinking about the buyer and who's buying it, where this is going. They're just thinking, will this make money? But if you think about the buyer and who's buying it, like anything else, like clothing, then you're going to, understand who you're selling to, and then you're going to have a buyer.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please leave us in the comments below if you have any specific questions for next time. But we're definitely going to cover as many topics as we can, especially in the hard good category. We can help you make profit to help your family. That's a win-win. Everyone have a good night. We will see you guys later. Bye.